Kyrie Irving, one of the most controversial figures in the entire NBA. On one hand, you have one of the most talented ball handlers of all time, a guy who can really trip any defender up with his elite dribble moves and ability to create his own shot. On the other hand, you have a guy in Kyrie who just couldn't stay out of controversy for the peak years of his career. Besides his championship run with LeBron, when he was needed most, it seemed he could never truly lock in. Because of the ups and downs, some people love him and some people hate him. So I figure it's time to take a deep dive and find out, does Kyrie Irving deserve all the hate he gets? Let's rewind all the way back for a second. When Kyrie came into the league, he was drafted first to a post-LeBron Cavs team with not so many expectations. Despite this, after playing a few years, it was pretty clear just how talented this guy was. Someone who could really get you a bucket from anywhere on the court against pretty much anyone. He just didn't really have a team. Then LeBron came back, and things got real. Irving went from being the man on a terrible Cavs team to being part of an elite unit fighting for championships almost overnight, and he actually performed. Kyrie was by far the most important part of that Cavs team besides LeBron James. They battled endlessly with the Golden State Warriors, and while Golden State was a whole different beast and one of the best teams of all time, LeBron and Kyrie earned a ring against that team, overcoming a 3-1 series deficit, with Kyrie hitting what most consider to be the game-winning shot in Game 7. After 3 finals appearances against each other in a row with a record of 2-1 for Golden State, it seemed Kyrie had enough of playing for the Cavs. Before the teams could meet each other in the finals once again and maybe make it 2-2, Kyrie approached the front office in the offseason and demanded a trade. Yep, that's right. After making the finals 3 years in a row and even winning one, Kyrie was demanding a trade. This came as an absolute shock to the front office and even LeBron James, who felt blindsided by the whole thing. And this right here is where things start to take a turn for Kyrie. From LeBron's beloved young gun and second in command to one of the most controversial figures in the entire NBA. But why did Kyrie want out of Cleveland so badly? Well, to put it simply, he wanted to be the man, not LeBron's sidekick. He felt LeBron got all the credit and attention on that team, which is totally true to be fair, but it's still a good situation. Kyrie's ego needed more than just championships though. Winning a chip as a major piece just wasn't enough. Now he had to be the piece. Well, Kyrie ended up getting his way and forced a trade to the Boston Celtics, where he could now be the vet leading younger players like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. When Kyrie arrived in Boston, he was dreaming big. It was a deep team and had just signed prime Gordon Hayward. It looked like all they needed was a true superstar to push them over the line and they could contend with any team. Kyrie was more than happy to fill that role, but things started to go downhill pretty quickly. 2 minutes into the first game of the season, second star Gordon Hayward exploded his leg and ankle, and Kyrie was stuck as the only true star on a younger Boston lineup. Kyrie was still committed to making this work though, at least for now. Over the course of his first season on Boston, it became pretty clear that he was struggling to reach the highs he had reached over in Cleveland. Turns out having LeBron on your team draws a lot of attention and makes it easier for you to score. Who would have thought? Anyway, after a very mediocre season as a first option, he chose to go for knee surgery right before the start of the playoffs. Most people assumed that the Celtics would get burned without Kyrie's star power, but all of a sudden, Boston started to play better together. They ultimately lost after they took LeBron's Cavs to a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals, but it was a super impressive run for such a young team without their star player. And you guessed it, this is where things start to get weird on the team. By next season, there were reports that younger players like Tatum and Brown weren't happy with how Kyrie was leading the team. For Kyrie, this isn't at all what he envisioned when his ego made him force a trade to be worshipped as the man of a team. Players were starting to question if he was the man. And this certainly played into why he left the Celtics high and dry in free agency after the year was up. This was another shocker, as even Kyrie himself was promising season ticket holders that he wanted to re-sign with the Celtics not even a year before. Kyrie must have realized that being the number one option is hard, because after only 2 seasons of giving it a go in Boston, he joined up with Kevin Durant on the Nets to essentially be a sidekick once again. Before he left the Celtics though, he got in a big scandal for talking about flat earth stuff in an interview. This was mostly harmless, but it did kick off his conspiracy theorist chapter, which did get him in real trouble. We'll get to that soon though. Things once again were looking promising for Kyrie. The Nets were looking like the team to beat with KD and Kyrie. How could you stop that scoring output? Most people thought. And they were right. After a year where KD and Kyrie were both recovering from injury, the Nets looked deadly. Then, only a bit into their first season actually playing together, the Nets made a move to acquire James Harden as well. This team now rivaled all-time teams for scoring ability. All they would have to do is play their game for a few years and a chip would likely come to them. Sadly for these guys, COVID hit. Why was COVID that big of a deal? Well, Kyrie refused to get vaccinated, unlike his co-stars Durant and Harden. At this time, New York required people to get vaccinated to work, so Kyrie literally couldn't play home games or games in certain other cities which had the same rule. This immediately created a divide between Kyrie and the other stars. From their perspective, if Kyrie would just suck it up and get the vaccine, they had a very high chance to dominate the NBA. Instead, they could really never find their footing. Kyrie was also missing team meetings and practices without any notice, and was spotted partying a few times during these absences. By midway through next season, Harden was done with Kyrie's antics and forced to trade to Philadelphia. The Nets were officially cooked. And to be honest, it was mainly because of Kyrie. Kyrie had one last gift to give to Brooklyn though. He shared a documentary that was apparently anti-Semitic, while living in Brooklyn. You know, the Jewish capital of America. Yeah, by this point, Kyrie was starting to look like a bit of a villain in the eyes of NBA fans. A guy with a massive ego who waltzes his way onto teams and seems to ruin them from the inside out. All while not winning anything since being on a team with LeBron James. Pretty soon, Kyrie refused to sign an extension with the Nets and was traded after requesting one. Kyrie was traded to the Dallas Mavericks, where honestly, he hasn't gotten into much trouble. For the most part, he locked in and played some great basketball with Luka, making it to the finals with him, yet ultimately losing to the Boston Celtics. I guess Tatum and Brown had the last laugh in their disagreements on the Celtics. Kyrie could have had a great redemption arc on the Mavs, but sadly he tore his ACL before the 2025 playoffs. It's probably over for Kyrie. He's going to be 34 when he comes back, relies on speed to an extent as a player, and is a bit undersized in the modern NBA. Good luck to him on his return, but personally, I think he's cooked. Kyrie's NBA career will be remembered for his immense talent, winning a ring with LeBron while being the best ball handler in the NBA, and icing the shot to win that ring. We can't take that away from him. But his career will also be remembered for the countless scandals he got himself into, and how many teams he seemed to ruin from the inside out. In short, he had a troubled but overall pretty successful career, and I don't think the NBA would have been the same without him. Love him or hate him. Thanks for watching. Did you enjoy this video? Smash the like button or leave a comment. We appreciate everything. And let me know if you'd like to see any other players gone over in a video like this. See you next video.